Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today, I'm going to talk about 4 key things to implement into your daily practice while healing from narcissistic abuse. Not only will these 4 points help you heal, but they will help you maintain your status of healing. Watch this video. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, please click the little subscribe button and the bell to receive notifications when I release new videos. And if you've been with me for a while, thank you so much and welcome back. I want to talk about this today. There are 4 points that I like to implement into the work of my clients who are starting to heal and maintaining healing from narcissistic abuse. I just did an interview this morning that will be out soon about this topic in depth, so I hope you guys will check that out. I will put the link here when it is ready. But for now, I want to go into these 4 very specific, very important points that we need to remind ourselves of, we need to practice, we need to memorize as we go through this healing. First thing, you guys, is understanding what narcissistic abuse is, understanding if someone is actually narcissistic or if they just have symptoms, because these symptoms are massive these days. Our society is a very narcissistic society, so symptoms are pretty common. And whether it's a symptom or a diagnosis, doesn't really matter if it's affecting you, right? The only thing that matters about that is many times people say that people with specific NPD cannot heal. I always leave the door open for people who wish to heal. People with symptoms absolutely can. So here's what we need to know. Number 1, stop gaslighting yourself. You guys have heard me say this before, but it's really important. Stop gaslighting yourself. What does that mean? It means you're ruminating. You're saying, well, maybe I did do something wrong. Maybe I was too much. Maybe I was too sensitive. Maybe they're not that bad. They did this for me and they do love me and they do understand me and they can be vulnerable. Maybe they're not really narcissistic. Doesn't matter if they are or not. You're feeling something that doesn't feel good. So the gaslighting is telling yourself that what you just experienced might not be what you think you experienced. And even though I think it's really important to look things over and neutrally observe them and be like, well, what was my part? What was their part? People who are born into families of narcissism oftentimes have an over responsibility for the other person's feelings. So it's really easy for you to take on too much and forget that the other person is at fault, right? So really looking at this, instead of saying, oh, it's my fault, I did this wrong, that's the gaslighting, you have to say, what they did was not good. What they said was not good. It wasn't because of me, because nobody's behavior is an effect from you. You're not the cause of someone's reaction. Someone has control over how they'd like to treat you and how they'd like to react. So stop gaslighting yourself. Second thing is stop going to the person who abused you for comfort. This is like Stockholm syndrome, where we go to them for the connection because our biggest fear is disconnect, because that's what happened to us in childhood. We never had a secure attachment, or we had an attachment injury or trauma, or we just had a very inconsistent, not solid emotional parent. And so we're constantly looking for that connection because we're never taught how to self-anchor and truly have a secure attachment with self yet, right? Unless you do my courses, then you're learning this. But when we're doing that, it's like we're trying to find that connection so that we can stop the bleeding. We feel like we're going to die unless we connect, because as children, we would die unless we connected. It was survival, but it's not anymore. Now it's just an emotional survival due to an inner child wounding. So stop going to the one that hurt you for comfort. It's not healthy and it's not going to work. Number 3, that false hope, you guys. It's like, will they change? Will it be different this time? Do you know, I just had a woman message me yesterday that said she was in this cycle for 35 years. I hear this often. She said, I wish I could have just learned to get out of the withdrawal, to understand what the trauma bond was. She's like, I'm learning through your videos, but now I'm way older and I feel like I've lost my life. No, you haven't lost your life. Because if you're learning, and the rest of your life can be much better. But for those of you who are in this cycle and you're having this false hope, maybe they'll figure it out so I don't have to leave them. They're not gonna. And if they do, bonus, but do not wait for that, because majority of the time, 99% of the time, they won't. And the reason that they won't figure it out or change is because they can't, because their whole point in this is to manipulate and control, because they've such an insecure true self that has been abandoned and annihilated so many years ago that you have to deny you so they can stay in their denied reality. in this interview I did was about narcissistic parents. One of the things I said was, this woman asked me, why couldn't they love us? And I say, listen, they abandoned their true authentic self so long ago that when their innocent, amazing, pure child is being their authentic self, that is a natural trigger. Why? That is a natural trigger because it's reminding themselves and mirroring to themselves the part of themselves they don't allow. And it feels like death to them. It's such a trigger to them. It's such a threat to them that they must make you wrong for being you so they can remain being false them. Take that in. I'm going to do a separate video on just that piece, right? So that's number 3, false hope. It's got to go away. And number 4, listen to how you feel. You've been programmed to not trust yourself. You've been programmed to not listen to yourself, to not trust what you're feeling as correct, to not really understand what's going on. Is it me? Is it them? Trust your nervous system. Your nervous system feels like this. I had a client yesterday who said to me, girl, I have this new relationship, but I know everything we learned, and what's going on with this? My nervous system. Is it me? Is it my abandonment wound? I said, listen, if your nervous system is in disarray, there's a reason. What is the trigger? And she said, well, we're really connected and we're vulnerable and we're like emotionally communicative and all of that. But then I won't hear from him for a few days. And I go, do you think that's normal? She's like, well, I shouldn't have this reaction though. I said, yes, you should, because you've been through all this, right? So your nervous system is now saying, watch out, this is similar. So you can check with him and say, hey, I need more consistency. But if the game continues to be played, 100%. It's not consistent, which means red flag. If it's not consistent, your nervous system can't relax and feel, everything's okay. It's an example of this. When you're a child and you don't hear from your parent, or your parent's mad at you and you start thinking, what did I do to make them disconnect? That's already toxic because there's nothing you can do to make your parent not love you. But if you have a narcissistic parent, you're going to think you need to earn that love. You're going to think that you owe them something. You're going to think that them treating you that way is because of you. What you have to understand is they beat you down like this so that you don't trust yourself, so that you believe the narrative that you're the problem, so that you don't wake up and start seeing the real toxic problem that they are. You have been scapegoated for their behavior because they need an excuse for why they're so sick, and it must be you. That's why I act this way. She makes me crazy. He makes me crazy. When you start to grow up and you start to understand that there's nothing you could have ever done to make that person act that way or treat you that way, you're starting to realize now that it's not you. It must actually be them. And when you start looking at the reality that, oh my God, if I'm not the problem, there's nothing wrong with me, what does that mean? It might be them. That's when we start to feel free and scared. Because how scary is it to realize that, number 1? But number 2, you're safe now. You don't need them to survive. Your inner child emotional self does. And this is why we need to reparent. This is why we need to reparent. And we need to do all this inner work, right? And heal that inner child and that inner teen and even that young adult. Because when you start to see that your parent is what they are or your partner is what they are, it's freeing because now you understand what's going on. You can stop gaslighting yourself. You can stop having the false hope. You can stop going to the person that's hurting you for comfort. And you can stop questioning what you feel. The only reason you have ever been in doubt is because someone made you doubt your reality so that they could own their false truth. The more we heal back to our true authentic self, the more we get to see reality. We get to heal all those wounds of seeing that we were never wrong in the first place. We never did anything wrong to deserve that. We were innocent. It wasn't our fault. So when we understand that and we look at the truth and we truly trust what we see, yeah, we might have to do the hard thing and leave something, even though we have this gaping hole of an attachment trauma. We have to leave them, but in leaving them, we're joining up with ourselves and we're starting to create that true, let's say, safe security, but also secure attachment to self. And because we never had a secure sense of self as a child, because we weren't allowed that, we still look to other so that we can give ourselves permission slip to love ourselves. What you're going to know is when I look to this person who will never give it to me, I'm going to start to give it to myself and understand that I have the permission slip from within. Understand that I have the authority over my own life. Understand what really happened. And when you understand that to a true point, you're going to see that you're no longer constantly leaving yourself to please them or connect with them. It's about now coming back to leaving them to connect with you. Guys, I have to mention I Am Worthy, the course that anchors all of this in, is starting January 11th, live classes. During those classes, if you need one-on-one coaching, even though we do meet live once a month, you get 50% off of those coaching sessions, and that is all within the class. So I am worthy. Let's jump in for 12 weeks together, January 11th. Please check out any other offerings I have, Inner Work 1 and 2, also amazing options. Please share this video with at least one person you think it could heal. Love you guys, and I'll see you soon.